as the golden morning sun bathed the streets of New York. Isabella Carter sat by the window of her small apartment, sipping her coffee. The towering skyscrapers of Manhattan loomed outside, a silent witness to the years of struggle that had led to this moment. Today was a special day, the day she would officially finalize her employment at Harrington & Company, one of the most prestigious investment firms in Thessaly. A soft voice interrupted her. "Thoughts, Mom? Today is your final interview, right?" Isabella turned to see her 10-year-old daughter Lily standing behind her, still in her pajamas. The little girl rested her chin on Isabella's shoulder, her big brown eyes filled with curiosity. Isabella smiled and gently stroked her daughter's hair. "Not exactly, sweetheart. I've already been offered the job today. It's just about signing paperwork and getting a tour of my new office." Lily beamed and threw her arms around, found her mother. "Congratulations, I know you'll do amazing." A warm feeling spread through Isabella's chest. For 10 years she had raised Lily alone, while working tirelessly to build her career, attending night school, working at small firms, and constantly proving herself, had led to this very moment. She had never let anything stop her, not even the disapproval of her own family. As Isabella prepared breakfast, her thoughts wandered to her mother, Vivian Carter. Vivian had been an executive secretary for over 30 years, at a major corporation, and had connections everywhere. But despite her business acumen, she had never truly supported Isabella, especially after Sophia, Isabella's younger sister, was born. Vivian's affections had clearly shifted. Unlike Isabella, Sophia had never held an aerial job despite having a college degree, yet their mother doted on her calling, Hermie Jewel, and ensuring she had a comfortable life without lifting a finger. "Mom, we're going to Grandma's house tonight, right?" Lily asked, spreading jam on her toast. Isabella sighed. "Yes, I need to tell her about my job offer." In truth, she had mixed feelings about it. Vivian would outwardly celebrate the news, but whether she was genuinely happy was another story. In the past she had made comments like a single mother working at a big firm. "How will you even manage?" Despite everything, Isabella felt an obligation to tell her it wasn't for approval she had long stopped seeking, that it was simply her duty as a daughter. "I want to show Grandma my new drawing," Lily said eagerly. "Of course," Isabella replied with a forced smile. But deep down she knew the evening would be anything but pleasant. That evening, after picking Lily up from school, Isabella drove toward her mother's house. As they neared the familiar brownstone, she glanced at her daughter. "No matter what Grandma or Aunt Sophia says, don't let it get to you." "Okay," Lily nodded. "I know, Mum, we're fine as long as we have each other." Isabella squeezed her daughter's hand. Lily was stronger than most kids her age, but that didn't mean she should have to deal with unnecessary cruelty. She parked the car and took a deep breath before ringing the doorbell. Vivian answered at the door with her usual poised elegance. "Isabella, Lily, come in," she said with a thin smile. Sophia was already lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She barely glanced up when they walked in. "So what's the big news?" Vivian asked, as she led them to the dining room. Isabella took a seat, keeping her expression neutral. "I've been offered a senior financial analyst position at Harrington & Company. I start next week." Vivian blinked, then let out a small, practiced laugh. "Well, that's surprising. Ovia smirked. "A single mother working at a top firm. How are you going to handle it?" "Late nights, constant deadlines." She shook her head. "It's too much for you." Isabella clenched her fists under the table. "I'll manage just fine." Sophia Vivian took a sip of tea. "I'm just concerned you already have so much on your plate. Perhaps it would be better if you focused on raising Lily instead of chasing impossible dreams." Isabella's jaw tightened. "It's not impossible." "Mother, I earned this." Lily tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, can I show Grandma my drawing?" Vivian barely spared a glance. "Maybe later." Dear Lily's face fell, and Isabella's patience wore thin. She pushed her chair back. "We should get going. It's been a long day." Vivian waved a dismissive hand. "Well, don't say I didn't warn you when things get too hard." Isabella didn't respond. She simply took her daughter's hand and walked out, determined more than ever to prove them wrong. A week passed, and Isabella was preparing for her first day at work. Lily was excited constantly. asking, "Can I see a picture of your desk?" Then one afternoon, her phone rang. The screen displayed Herring and Company smiling. She answered, "Hello, this is Isabella Carter." But the voice on the other end was, "Serious Miss Carter, this is Daniel Lawson from Human Resources. I wanted to confirm something. We received notice that you would be declining the position due to family circumstances." Isabella froze, what according to the message your mother, Vivian Carter, informed us that you won't be able to take the role. Isabella's heart pound sounded. There's been a mistake. I never declined. There was silence on the other end before Daniel sighed. I thought it seemed unusual. You were our top candidate. But since the notice came from your immediate family, we assumed it was true. Isabella's hands shook with fury. I'll come in immediately to clear this up. As soon as she hung up, she clenched her phone. Why would her own mother sabotage her Lily? I need to go to Grandma's house, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I'll ask Jessica's mom if you can stay over tonight. Lily frowned. Mom, are you okay? Isabella forced a smile. I will be, but deep inside anger and betrayal burned through her. Vivian had crossed the line, and Isabella was done letting her dictate her life. 30 minutes later, Isabella banged on her mother's door. Sophia answered with a smirk. Well, big sister, what brings you here? Where's Mother? Isabella demanded in the living room. Isabella pushed past her and stormed inside. Vivian was sitting calmly, sipping tea. Isabella, you look upset. Isabella's hands clenched. You called my company and declined the job on my behalf. Why? Vivian took another sip, her expression indifferent. I simply did what was best. I recommended Sophia. Instead, that job would be too difficult for you. Isabella's breath caught. She had given Sophia her job. You what? Sophia leaned against the door frame, arms crossed. Imean, let's be real, a single mom can't juggle this kind of career. You should be grateful. Mom helped you avoid a disaster. Isabella trembled with rage. You stole my opportunity. Vivian waved a hand, dismissively. I asked an old friend to arrange things. Sophia is better suited for the job. Fury exploded inside. Isabella, you've never supported me. But this is unforgivable. Vivian sighed. It's already decided, dear Sophia starts next week. Isabella's vision blurred with anger. But one thing was clear. This wasn't over. Isabella stormed out of her mother's house, her breath coming into sharp bursts. How could they do this to her? Her own mother and sister had stolen the job she had spent years working toward, and they acted as if it were nothing. As she got into her car, her phone buzzed. It was Jessica, her best friend. Hey, Jess, Isabella said, trying to steady. Her voice is what's wrong. You sound like you're about to explode. Isabella let out a bitter laugh. My mother called Harrington and Company and told them I was declining signing the job. Then she pushed Sophia into my position instead. There was silence on the other end, before Jessica let out a string of curses. That's insane. Did you talk to HR? I did, but they said the decision had already been made by upper management. Jessica exhaled. You can't let them get away with this. You worked too hard for this job. Isabella gripped the steering wheel. I know, that's why I'm going to Harrington and Company first thing. Tomorrow I'll tell them the truth. Good, and I say, yeah, you're not alone if you need anything. I'm here. A lump formed in Isabella's throat. Thanks, Jess, as she drove home. Isabella felt a new resolve settle over her. This wasn't the end, not by a long shot. The next morning, Isabella was preparing to leave for Harrington and Company when her phone rang. She frowned when she saw the caller. I.D. Harrington and Company Heo, Richard Harrington. Her heart pounded as she answered. This is Isabella Carter, Miss Carter. The deep voice on the other end said, I need you to come to my office today at 300p. There's been a serious issue regarding your employment. Isabella clenched her fist. Yes, I'd be happy to. Come, should I bring anyone hesitation, then yes. Bring your mother and sister. This matter involves them directly. A rush of cold spread through Isabella's chest. They must have figured it out. Understood. I'll be there. When she hung up, she immediately called Vivian. The phone rang several times before her mother picked up Isabella. We need to go to Harrington and Company today at 300p. Isabella said, Coolly, they want all three of us there. There was a long pause, then Vivian's voice. Why you already know why, Mother. Silence. Then in a small voice, Vivian said, all right. Isabella hung up. She had no idea what was about to happen. But she knew one thing: this was the moment everything would change at exactly 300p. Isabella, Vivian, and Sophia walked into the towering skyscraper of Harrington and Company. Vivian looked tense, her usual composure faltering. Sophia, for the first time, wasn't smirking. They were led to a massive conference room where Richard Harrington sat at the head of the table, his piercing blue eyes scanning them across from him. Sat Daniel Lawson, the HR director, along with two senior executives. Take a seat. Harrington said, his tone icy. Isabella sat with her back straight. She wasn't afraid, Letunget. Straight to the point, Harrington continued, looking at Vivian. You contacted our HR department and falsely claimed that Isabella was declining her position. Then you recommended your younger daughter, Sophia, in her place. Is that correct? Vivian cleared her throat. Was only trying to help, I thought. Help? Harrington interrupted, his voice sharp. You didn't help. You committed fraud. Sophia sank lower in her chair. I didn't know it was that serious. You didn't know. Daniel Lawson scoffed. Miss Carter, we found an email you sent to your mother discussing the plan to submit Isabella's credentials as your own. You knew exactly what you were doing. Isabella's stomach twisted, so they had stolen everything, even her resume. Vivian looked pale. Mr. Harrington, I assure you, you assured me that Sophia had the necessary experience. Harrington snapped. Yet this morning she humiliated our firm in front of a multi-million-dollar client by failing to perform a basic financial analysis. Sophia's face burned red. I didn't expect the work to be so difficult. That's because it was never your job. To take silence filled the room. Harrington turned to Isabella. Miss Carter, I want you to know that we have reviewed everything: your credentials, your experience, and your hiring evaluation. You were our top candidate. The deception caused by your family should never have happened. Isabella exhaled sharply. I appreciate that, Mr. Harrington. He nodded. We are officially reinstating your job offer, and more than that, we're offering you a higher salary and a leadership position to compensate for this debacle. Isabella's eyes widened. Are you serious? Harrington nodded. We believe in hiring, based on merit, not manipulation. A weight lifted off Isabella's chest. She had won then. Harrington's gaze hardened as he turned back to Vivian and Sophia. As for you two, consider yourselves blacklisted from every major investment firm in the city. Your credibility is destroyed. Vivian paled. Please. Richard, we've known each other for years. That is exactly why this betrayal is unacceptable. Sophia looked at Isabella with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. I was just jealous. I never thought it would come to this. Isabella stared at the sister for a long moment before standing up. Sorry doesn't fix 10 years of hard work being stolen. I'm done with both of you. Vivian reached out. Isabella. She shook her head. No, mother, from today forward, I am free from you. With that, Isabella turned and walked out, her head held high. This was her life, and no one would ever take it from her again. 1 year later, Isabella sat in her spacious corner office at Harrington and Company. Now a senior director, her team respected her, her salary had doubled. And most importantly, she was finally happy. That evening, as she cooked dinner in their new apartment, Lily asked, Mom, do you miss Grandma and Aunt Sophia? Isabella paused. She had received a letter from her mother a few weeks ago, a long apologetic letter. I don't know. She admitted some wounds. Take time to heal. Lily nodded. As long as we have Icho. That's all that matters. Isabella smiled, pulling her daughter into a hug. That's right, we're the Carter family, and we're stronger than ever. Outside, the city lights twinkled, reflecting the bright future ahead. Isabella had fought for her happiness, and she had won. It had been over a year since Isabella had last spoken to her mother and sister. Life had moved on. She had thrived at Harrington and Company, secured a stable life for herself and Lily, and finally found the peace she had been searching for. But some wounds refused to fade so easily. One evening, as Isabella was helping Lily with her homework, the doorbell rang. She frowned. It was unusual for anyone to drop by unannounced. Mom, who is it? Lily asked, peeking up from her math book. I'm not sure, sweetheart. Isabella walked to the door, hesitating for just a second before opening it. Her breath caught standing there looking exhausted and uncertain was Sophia. Sophia's voice was barely above a whisper. Isabella stared at her younger sister, torn between anger and curiosity. Sophia looked different. Her usual arrogance was gone, replaced by something unfamiliar. "What do you want?" Isabella asked, her tone. Guarded Sophia bit her lip. "I know I don't deserve to be here, but can we talk for a long moment?" Isabella considered, slamming. The door shut, but something in Sophia's expression, something raw and desperate, made her step aside 5 minutes. She said coldly. Sophia nodded and stepped inside. Sophia sat stiffly on the couch, her fingers nervously twisting together. Lily stood by the dining table, staring at her aunt with an expression that was neither warm nor hostile. "Just curious." Isabella folded her arms well. Sophia took a deep breath. "I got fired." Isabella didn't flinch, not surprising. Sophia let out a humorless laugh. "Yeah, I guess not." She exhaled shakily after everything that happened at Harrington and Company. No company wanted to hire me. I had to take a job as an entry-level assistant at a tiny accounting firm. Isabella raised an eyebrow. "So you finally had to work for something." Sophia winced, but nodded. "Yeah, and I sucked at it at first. I had to actually learn things you already knew. Things you worked for." Isabella stayed silent, waiting for the real reason Sophia was here. Sophia hesitated before continuing. "Mom lost a lot after you cut ties. Her friends distanced themselves. The respect she had gone." Isabella's stomach tightened. A part of her had always expected that, but hearing it out loud was different. "She doesn't say it, but I know she regrets what she did," Sophia said quietly, "and so do I." Isabella clenched her jaw. "It took you losing everything to realize that." Toya flinched. "I know, and I won't make excuses, but I'm not here to beg for forgiveness. I wanted to see you and Lily." At that, Lily finally spoke. "Are you still a bad person?" Sophia's eyes widened. Then surprisingly, she let out a small laugh. "I don't know, kid, but I'm trying not to be." Lily studied her for a long moment before looking at Isabella. "Mom." Isabella sighed, rubbing her temples. This was not a situation she had ever prepared for. Finally, she looked at Sophia. "I'm not ready to let you back in, but I'll think about it." Sophia nodded, and for the first time in years, she didn't try to argue. Fair enough. A week later, Isabella received a letter in the mail. The handwriting was familiar. Vivian Carter. She hesitated before opening it. "Dear Isabella, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know that I am sorry. For years I saw you as a mistake. I convinced myself that you would fail, that you would prove me right, but you didn't. You proved me wrong. And instead of being proud of you, I tried to tear you down. I lost everything because of my choices, my reputation, my standing my own daughters, and I deserve that. I don't expect to be in your life again, but if you ever decide to let me in, even a little, I would be grateful. Take care of yourself and Lily. And know that even if it took me too long to say it, I am proud of you with love." Isabella read the letter twice before placing it down. "Mom?" Lily asked. Looking up from the couch, Isabella took a deep breath. "Grandma wrote me a letter." Lily tilted her head. "What did she say?" Isabella thought about it. She thought about the years of pain to betrayal, the hurt. She also thought about the regret in those words. She said, "She's proud of me." Lily was quiet for a moment before nodding. "Good, she should be." Isabella let out a soft laugh. Yes, she should. She wasn't sure what she would do. Yet, but for the first time in a long time, she was willing to consider opening the door just a little. For now, though, she had Lily, and that was more than enough. Months passed, and life continued. Isabella remained one of the most respected leaders at Harrington and Company. She and Lily flourished in their new life, free from the shadows of the past. Then, one evening, her phone buzzed with a message from Sophia. "Sophia, Mom's health isn't great. She's asking, "For you?" Isabella stared at the message, her heart conflicted then. Before she could second-guess herself, she replied, "Isabella, where is she? Because while the past could never be erased, sometimes, just sometimes, there was room for second chances." And maybe, just maybe she was ready to take that step.